In the late 1600s, a Benedictine monk named Dom Perignon was working at the monastery's vineyards to improve the production quality of a certain sparkling wine. According to legend, Perignon took a sip of his creation and cried out, "Come quickly! I am tasting the stars." Some call it bubbles, some fizz or pop or champers. For hundreds of years, it's been there at great celebrations and harrowing defeats. It's launched ships to sea and welcomed heroes home. It's champagne. And though it might taste like the stars, it's never been able to travel beyond Earth until now. In this extra special episode, Dr. Eric Stribling sat down with Octave de Gaulle, founder of the space design agency SPADE. SPADE is partnering with Axiom Space to elevate mealtime in microgravity, drawing on the rich history of French fine dining. And that's a world Octave knows well, because he's also the designer behind Maison Mum's Cordon Rouge Stellar, the first champagne bottle that actually works in microgravity. So stay tuned as we uncork the incredible innovation behind taking champagne to space and explore why human rituals are so important to the future of spaceflight. Salut et bienvenue. I'm Amanda Kerberg, and this is Space for Humans. Space has long been dominated by an engineer's perspective, as you've probably heard Dr. Stribling say before. And with good reason. Space is an incredibly challenging and dangerous environment, so it makes sense to put safety first. Function before fun. But as we know, the humans who go to space still bring their humanity with them, whether it's Scott Kelly chasing fellow astronauts in a gorilla suit or Katie Coleman playing the flute. And it's that humanity that drives the designer's perspective of Octave de Gaulle, because he's looking forward to a future where space travel isn't just the realm of very highly trained astronauts or very wealthy tourists, but of everyone from artists to scientists to Arizona State University students conducting research. Longer missions to the moon and Mars will also aggravate existing challenges, from cramped personal space to just plain old boredom. As private space companies like Axiom move toward that future, they're turning to designers like Octave to create space environments that are more comforting, more welcoming, more human. So what does it mean to design spaces that feel less like work and more like home? Well, consider a table. It's probably something you take for granted every day, but it's pretty important, and it doesn't translate easily into microgravity.
Okay, so some of the other things that you've designed at SPADE include a space table. What is important about a table to you?
The idea of thinking about a table is that it's something that doesn't make sense in space because you can't put things on tables. So we would think as designers that tables are here to lay your objects and to lay things. There is another angle where you see table as architectural objects that engage social interactions. And my idea was, can we design an object that is more than an object, that is actually a place around which the crew will revolve, and create social interaction and create society. Even microgravity is a constraint in the sense that now we are facing each other, our eyes are aligned. If I start to turn myself upside down, or if I'm having this conversation like this, you will see that engaging with each other, understanding each other is much more complicated. Designing a table was a reflection about this and about how you can create also a way to strap yourself around that table without using belts or ropes or things or clips, things that are used in the realm of security more than in the realm of social interaction. So in this case, we've designed the table with a sofa-like set of cushions under it that you would tuck your knees or tuck parts of your body under it, and that would allow you to stay in place. The result will be the same, but the way you program your mind in that experience and the way you feel in that overall experience could be more interesting when you're trying to deploy an idea of comfort.
As you can see, designing something as simple as a table for space is already a huge challenge. From a designer's perspective, Octave works within the environmental constraints to maximize things like comfort, connection, and, in his words, conviviality. But with a champagne bottle, he faced constraints from both the space industry and the champagne industry. And it's hard to say whose regulations were stricter. So, why champagne?
When I first started on working on what is essential for humans in space, I found that we can also look back at what was essential for millenaries for humans. You have some stuff that we as humans do for a very long time, have been doing for a very long time, and that tend to define us a little bit as a social animal. And that includes dancing, gathering for food, partying also is something that you can track back very, very far in the story of mankind, and celebrating. Champagne is universally linked to part of those celebrations, and maybe something that can be more necessary than we think in general, celebration and conviviality. When we talk about astronauts leaving Earth for 3, 4 years, 2 years, going to Mars, let's say, or going for a long duration mission. And champagne is a great way to create a moment of conviviality, a ritual that reminds you of who you were on Earth in a moment where physically and mentally you are very much challenged by the condition of living in a can, a very, very cramped space, with 3 or 4 other crew members. This can be very hard at times. So the reason behind this project is how can champagne participate in making the condition of humanity in exploration a bit better?
To design a celebratory champagne bottle that would work in microgravity and still meet the strict conditions that define champagne, Octave had to balance a lot of requirements. The champagne had to be transported in glass, but it also needed to survive the journey to space without breaking. So they reinforced the outside of the bottle with aeronautical-grade aluminum and put in 2 little windows so you can check and make sure that no glass is broken. The windows are totally functional, but they also make the bottle look kind of like a silver rocket ship. So how do you actually serve the champagne? Well, long-standing French tradition has champagne poured one-handed with the thumb on the bottom of the bottle. This was a constraint from the champagne industry that turned into a design opportunity. So when you press a button on the bottom of the bottle, it releases the valve and the champagne gathers in a ring at the top of the bottle. Think of it kind of like a bubble blowing wand. Once you've captured a sphere of champagne in the ring, you do a sort of flicking motion with your wrist to release the bubble into microgravity, where it's then caught by a fellow traveler with a specially designed glass. Et voilà, le champagne dans l'espace. But we couldn't let Octave go without asking one more question.
So let's say we have a colony on Mars, and after years built a winery, and they've used champagne grapes and created their own wine. Could it ever be champagne?
If I were to give a short answer, the main rule of champagne is champagne can only comes out of Champagne region. They say it in a much nicer way in French, but it's like il n'y a de champagne que la Champagne, which means if you produce the same set of rules 10 kilometers away from the region, you're never going to be called champagne. So the answer is no. And it would be interesting to imagine what Mars can invent from its own set of constraints, thermal and weather constraints. And maybe you would end up with something that is amazing and very pricey on Earth.
Back in 1969, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong's first drink back on Earth was a champagne cocktail crafted by a bartender at London's Savoy Hotel. But thanks to the work of our guest Octave de Gaulle and his design agency Spade, it's possible that future moonwalkers will be able to toast their triumph while still in orbit. That's about so much more than champagne. It's about finding innovative ways to make space more human, and that's a reason to celebrate. Santé, et merci beaucoup à Octave de Gaulle. And thanks to you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Space for Humans. Celebratory? Okay. Celebratory? Okay. Celebratory?